Hello, welcome back to a new video, Laurel Hardy and Charlie Chaplin collectibles. In this video I've got some figures that I've had in my collection for a long time that I'd like to show, as they have a very special place in my heart and bring back a lot of happy memories, and also some slightly newer figures. So starting off with these two figures which I've had for many years, and I would probably consider these two probably the first serious Laurel Hardy figures that I bought. Back in the I'd say sort of like early 90s, from Whitby. So these were a nice find back then. But I actually first saw these back in the earlier part of the 90s, which was actually in Eastbourne Pier. When I was in, I can remember being in the arcades, and they had a glass display unit with prizes in there, and these figures were stood in there on display, which were part of the prizes. And I remember being completely fascinated by them, and it was the first time that I saw them on display back then. And then later on I was able to get hold of them. But it brings back a lot of memories, because this was when I used to stay with my grandparents that lived in Eastbourne at that time. But these are all sort of guaranteed, limited edition numbered, are 523, and then you've got 1671 guaranteed limited edition. So they're really nice older examples. They're not so much rare. You can actually get these online and what have you, so they're not too hard to come by. And then on from that, more recently I was able to get these ones, which are exactly the same, and these are painted in these were painted in Portugal, so it's nice to have an alternative, same versions but in a nice coloured examples, which are really nice figures also, and they're in their sort of work gear. And then exactly the same from the same range, which actually my grandparents got me this one of Charlie Chaplin back in the early 90s, and I completely fell in love with it when they gave me it as a gift at that time. And he stands on his nice wooden base, and again the same as the Laurel Hardy ones, limited edition guaranteed M290 figure. So it says Charlie Chaplin overall on that, so that's just totally him. But again, it's one of my favourites, because it brings back a lot of memories of how it all really started for me with the collector figure range of collecting. And then there was this, which is a slightly newer item that I've added to the collection, which is in the shape of like a teapot. The top of Charlie's hat comes off, so it's a really nice example there. And I also have the Laurel Hardy versions with the mugs or the cups, which is the same as this in the cabinet. And it's just nice to have the Charlie Chaplin one as well, as it goes with the whole range. And then moving on from that, I have this, which I've had in my collection for some time, which I absolutely love this. And on the bottom here you've got Kings of Comedy, 1994, modelled by Andy Moss, and this is number 35, handmade, painted in Staffordshire, England. So it's a nice British piece. And you've got Ollie sat on a suitcase, incredibly figure of Ollie, a big figure there of Ollie, and then you've got a smaller figure of Stan as the handle, and a hole in the top of Ollie's hat. So a nice item there to display in your showcase. And then the other one, which is from the same range, which I got recently, this one of Charlie Chaplin, which is a really nice example, again from the same guy that created it, Andy Moss, Prince of Clowns, and this is 1993. And you've got Chaplin sat on an old style car, and the handle forms of a lamppost. And this sort of resembles a lot from, it reminds me a lot from Charlie Chaplin's Easy Street, which is 1917 film, which is a musical film which co-starred Eric Campbell as the heavy or the villain, and Charlie was a police officer, and Eric Campbell, he bends the lamppost over, and then Chaplin manages to put the head of the lamppost over Campbell's head and sort of gasses him or suffocates him. But it's a really nice example there of another Charlie Chaplin piece for the display case. And then on from that, so today it's January 18th, and this is for Ollie. I've added this on the end because it's January 18th, so it's Ollie's birthday of when he was born in 1892, and Ollie did an outstanding performance of Shine On Harvest Moon, and this is a lovely paper item as an example of the music sheet of that song. All the words on the inside I didn't really recognise until I listened to it on YouTube by different performers. But it's the back part, which is the third part of the chorus, which is sung by Ollie. So he sings just this part in The Flying Deuces, which is the 1939 film, which is the RKO Stan Laurel, Oliver Hardy comedy, when they're in the Foreign Legion and Stan does his little dance, and then Ollie sings just this small part from the song, and he sings it really, really well, really amazing singer that he was. I believe if Ollie wasn't a comedian, he could have been a singer for radio or TV radio or whatever. So really, really great. So at the front here you've got words by Jack Norworth and music by Nora Baysnorworth. So they were both American, and so they were the creators of the song. That, as far as I know from record, this song first came out in 1908 when it was first published. This lady on the front here, Kate Smith, so she was an American soprano or singer. So she sang this song, Shine On Harvest Moon, in the early 1930s, and then it was released in 1933. So she was a radio TV performer, or had a career that took off really big in the 30s and 40s. But the other thing that I did get confused is on the back of this were the words you've got where, of course we know Ollie sings this as well, but it's got April, January, June or July. So the months in the chorus have been sung in different orders by other performers over the years. So it's a very famous song that was also used in Hollywood films over the years as well. And but in the order that we know that Ollie sings in The Flying Deuces is January, April, June or July, just to put that right. But I'm not too sure how old this particular music sheet is. I'm guessing it could be the early 30s or into the 40s. But it's a really, really nice example of the origin of where the song came from. Because you know, in the early days when I used to watch Laurel and Hardy films, I used to think it was just from the Laurel and Hardy films that the songs were made for their films, but they were not. They actually have more of a history behind them, and that's what makes it all the more interesting. But it says at the bottom of this one, this is only for Australia and New Zealand. So this was obviously only for sale in Australia at the time. But another nice bit of history there on another one of the songs or the music from the famous Laurel and Hardy films. So that's it for this video, and happy birthday Ollie or Babe, whichever you want to call him, or Oliver Norval Hardy. And so keep collecting, and stay safe, everyone. Bye.